I said why year-over-year analysis, and if you see other realtors do this, they advertise 160% increase. The market is hot, market is crazy. Be careful there. In today's video, yet another edition of the Toronto Real Estate / TREB Resale Market Report, where I go through the real estate market in the GTA and TREB areas in Toronto and go some of the key facts and trends. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron Realty Inc. Back with another video for you guys here today. As always, yet another edition of the monthly resale market report. You can find my contact information in the description box with regards to my Gmail, my office, and my Instagram. Lastly, feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Your support in that regard is always appreciated, but obviously you're not obliged to do so whatsoever. Starting the resale market report, we're going to look at total number of residential transactions, which if we just look at the surface level numbers here, it's a 160% increase when we compare it to 2020. Now, in the previous edition of the series for the previous month, mainly April, I said why year-over-year analysis, and if you see other realtors do this, they advertise 160% increase. The market is hot, market is crazy. Be careful there, because year-over-year analysis with regards to April and May, it can be a little bit misleading, because obviously the previous April and previous May was the beginning of the worldwide event that we're dealing with to this day, and now things are calming down a bit. You know, in North America at least, things are opening up more and more, and we have a hang of it. Whereas in previous April and previous May, we didn't really know what to expect, and in all industries, but obviously we're talking about real estate, Toronto real estate, GTA real estate in this regard, you know, people overreacted, and for good reason. We didn't really know what we were dealing with at the time. As a result, the total number of residential transactions was way too low. So it's not the fact that we truly saw a 160% increase in the number of transactions. It's that last year's numbers, for extraordinary reasons, were a little vacuous in nature. And it makes the increase in percentage more than what it actually appears to be. It's these numbers are a little overinflated when we're comparing it to last year. As a result, year-over-year analysis is not the best tool we can use. As a result, let's look at the preceding month, comparing May to April, and a thing we will continue to do later on in this video. As we go on, we see that the total number of residential transactions actually dropped. Where in April of 2021, we were looking at 13,000, and in May, we're looking at 11,000. Moving on to the average selling price here, we see the numbers represent a 24% increase in average selling price when we look at it once again at first year over year. Now, when we're looking at average selling price, the context of the situation actually doesn't really impact the numbers as much as other metrics, such as total number of residential transactions or new listings, new inventory. The reason the average selling price is really unaffected by this year-over-year analysis, and year-over-year analysis works reasonably well for average selling price, is very hard for this metric to be either inflated or underreported due to a worldwide event as we were dealing with last year. That can affect, once again, the total number of new listings and the total number of transactions. However, a given price of a commodity such as a real property, this can be different for other goods, but for real property, for real estate, worldwide events such as what happened don't really affect the price. More so, once again, they affect other metrics, such as, once again, total number of transactions, days on market, number of inventory on the market. But once an inventory is on the market, we're really looking at a basic supply and demand. You know, the market is going to go the direction of what a given buyer is willing to pay for a given good a seller is listing on the market. This is all to say that this 28% increase is an accurate reflection of where the real estate market in Toronto is heading. We are seeing an increase in price, and at 1.1, you know, that's another key factor here. Things were definitely trending towards a 1.1 average selling price across all property types in all areas in April, but in April it was around 1.09. Now we're looking at 1.1. So both an increase in terms of month over month and year over year. So now let's look at total new listings. And at the risk of sounding redundant, because a lot of people skip through the video at different parts, so I really want people to understand these numbers within context. Once again, this is a metric that was underreported last year. When we're looking at a 103% increase, we have to keep in mind that this is a metric that was really impacted by the worldwide event that started last May and April. Well, really March, April, and May. So unlike average selling price, but like total number of residential transactions, this increase, this 108% increase, really is not an accurate representation. The numbers last year, for good reason, were unusually low, whereas right now we're looking at a typical hot but typical real estate market. So nonetheless, though, 108% increase. However, once again, when we compare it to the preceding month, April, we see a decrease in the total number of new listings. So what are we to derive from this? We have seen thus far an increase in price, but a decrease in the total number of new listings and a decrease in the total number of transactions when we compare it to April of 2021. So no longer year over year, but month over month. What are we to derive from this? Well, it's a very moderate market here because the prices are increasing, but the fervor nature of multiple offers and 3 listings coming onto the market at the same weekend on the same street, buyers putting multiple offers on 3 to 4 different properties. All this is subsiding more and more and more. The total number of transactions are down, the total number of new listings are down, so sellers are going on the market less. There are less buyers on the market, involved with the market right now. And this has to do with a variety of reasons I've discussed on this channel. On the buying side of things, it's the new mortgage stress test that came into effect June 1st and removes a portion of the market, so it removes a portion of the buyers. They can no longer comfortably purchase. And another portion of the buyer base, maybe they're not completely removed from the market, but their options are more limited. And there's also obviously a portion of the buyer base that's not affected by this whatsoever because they're buying all cash or with a substantial amount of down. On the selling side of things, obviously these buyer trends affect sellers as well. However, summer markets are usually slower. People usually list less. Sellers who are looking to sell usually take the summer market off. The fall and winter markets are usually when people go through with the selling process because in terms of lifestyle, there isn't much of an opportunity cost, So summer markets, irrespective of stress tests, trends, things opening up, where the rental market is headed, investor versus end user trends, putting aside all of that, summer markets are usually slower anyways. So moving on to the last metric, property days on market, we saw a decrease of 53%. Once again, this measures how many days a given listing stays on the market. Now, sometimes these numbers can be a little off because the property can, on paper, sell Tuesday, and on Tuesday it's been on the market for 5 days. But it doesn't get reflected within the system, in some cases, until Thursday. So really, it's gonna say 7 days on market, when in actuality, it was sold firm, 2 days prior. However, more or less, it's an accurate metric, and we see a 53% decrease. And once again, this more has to do with the context of last year, wherein properties that went on the market stayed on the market for a long time because of fears associated with the worldwide event, and we didn't have that much information, and a lot of people really did remove themselves from the market. We saw a pause on everything pretty much. So this is to be expected here. Now, when we compare it to April, the preceding month, we actually see an increase. Once again, should thus far have become clear to you that this is the theme. And the theme is that thus far you should have derived that year over year things are up, but month over month things are down. Point being, we saw an average days on market of 14 days in April, but now we're looking at 15 days. Once again, this is very marginal. It's just a day, However, things are trending more towards a softer market for sellers and buyers. Now, when we look at average sold prices for property types, per property type, so breaking it down into detached, townhome, semi, and condo apartments, what I find most intriguing here is that the month over month, now we're exclusively looking month over month right now, compared to April. What I find most intriguing is the fact that the prices of detached and townhomes increased, yet condominiums and semi-detached decreased. Now this is average prices across all areas, so we're not breaking them down by area in this video, but in future videos, especially the weekly condo market updates, I'll give you more specific and more detailed numbers. Point being, the property types that saw an increase month over month here are detached and townhomes, whereas semi-detached and condominium apartments saw a dip in prices. Now, from my own experience as a realtor, I saw this firsthand, where when I worked with buyers, detached and townhomes were top of priority, not really semis and condos, at least in this month, in May, that I worked with buyers. So we were looking for detached and we were looking for townhomes, and there was a lot of competition for both. And on the selling side as well, we sold townhomes at very good prices. We sold detached at very good prices as well. So my experience as a day-to-day realtor really much so maps onto these numbers. Anyways, that's this month's edition of the TREB Resale Market Report. Stay tuned for later on the week, sometime Friday, for a condo market update where I go through condo numbers at a more detailed and specific level. And then, as always, a video in the middle of the week around Wednesday. Feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Lastly, you can find my contact information in the description box if you have any further questions about anything in this video or any other video. And yeah, as always, I really appreciate the fact that you take the time out of your day to watch my videos, and let me know if you have any suggestions of how to improve the production quality and the presentation as well. So thanks for watching, and stay safe.